Thank you for following the M.A.R.S blog series on the breakdown of our EPA regulation flowchart. In 2017, M.A.R.S created this flowchart to make the 94-page EPA regulation much easier to understand and more accessible to the entire dental industry. Our last blog release discussed who's required to have an amalgam separator and which offices are exempt from the EPA regulation. Today, we'll be discussing installation and compliance deadlines for those offices who are required to have an amalgam separator. Installation dates. So, installation and compliance dates are where many dental professionals get confused with the new EPA regulation. To make it simple, M.A.R.S breaks down the installation dates into three dates. Number one is after June 14, 2017. Any dental practice built after June 14, 2017 will be required to have an amalgam separator installed in their practice within 90 days of opening. The second date is July 2020. Dental professionals have to be aware the EPA regulation is a bare minimum requirement that can be superseded by your local regulator. July 2020 is US's national cutoff date for compliance. By that date, every dental practice who are not considered exempt from the rule will be required to have a legal functioning amalgam separator in their office. Third date is before July 2020. As I mentioned just recently, the EPA regulation is just a starting point. Many water treatment plants are already sent out their compliance due dates much earlier than July 2020. So up to the point you are required by your local regulator or the EPA to install an amalgam separator, it is up to you to choose when to install your amalgam separator. So you can wait for your local deadline, whenever it may be, but just remember, there are only 10 amalgam separator manufacturers who supply North America. Each of these manufacturers has the ability to produce a finite amount of units. If 85,000 dentists who don't already have an amalgam separator decide to purchase an amalgam separator within 6 months of the July 2020 cutoff date, you might find getting an amalgam separator in time for your compliance due dates, let alone the system you want, increasingly expensive and difficult. So it doesn't hurt to adopt early. Begin researching now. It may pay off to become compliant earlier than later, especially since many manufacturers are providing discounts to achieve compliance early. The important factors to consider are: ask for a guarantee of compliance in writing. Ensure you get a guaranteed service life breakdown for an accurate service life expectancy for your unit. The guaranteed service life will give you an accurate depiction of cost as well. So for existing amalgam separators, there's a lot of information in the dental industry about offices with an amalgam separator that was installed before June 14th, 2017. Many dental professionals believe that their current amalgam separator will keep them compliant because they believe they are grandfathered into compliance. Unfortunately, that is 100% incorrect. The reason for the misinformation, most people did not read the entire sentence regarding existing amalgam separators. Most people who read the EPA regulation reads the first part of the regulation pertaining to grandfathering. If you keep reading the sentence, you'll find that no amalgam separator is grandfathered. If you like, see this caption below, and it's also in our blog. At any point, your local regulator can require you to find better technology. If your current amalgam separator doesn't meet their local discharge limits, they can require you to buy something better. The best way to avoid having to reinvest in a new amalgam separator is to get some kind of guarantee of compliance from your amalgam separator manufacturer. Why buy a piece of compliance material if they don't guarantee your compliance? Now, up next, we're going to talk about one-time compliance reports. Follow us on our next release to learn who will be regulating you, what would they be expecting, and what you need to comply with their best management practices. In the meantime, if you have questions, call 1-866-594-3648.